everybody, to the Tapped Out Podcast Network, to the new, revamped, remodeled, call it what you will, Tapped In Podcast. I'm Nick McDaniel, and this week I'm joined by Jacked Jameson as a special guest host. What's going on, man? How have you been?
Nick, what's up, buddy? Thanks for having me back on once again. Been good. I went to see Lil Wayne last night at State Farm Arena. So, win or lose, we booze. The frat house, of course, turned up. Had a good time, but we're here, ready to talk some wrestling. I'm excited. Fun show today.
So the voice is still good. The ears are good. I'm assuming all the music blaring and the singing and all that. You're still good, and
Yeah, I've learned to professionally train my voice to not lose it. When I started, I was doing those promos with the Iron Savages. I would lose my voice just about every night. But you still have to go out and talk and cut promos. So figure out a way how to not lose your voice, and you just figure that out as you're going. Different ways you use your diaphragm. Yeah, that's right. So had a good time, but we're ready to go.
I figured it was the booze. It just kind of hydrated and liquid, so that just worked as well.
Yeah, keeps it lubricated.
Yeah, exactly. Well, man, I appreciate you joining in. I know we revamped and remodeled. We got a little bit of changes, and if you guys were members at Patreon, you'd have known about this a couple of weeks ago. Again, change it up a little bit, but if make sure you are, even though the formats are changed, nothing's changed on the Patreon. Patreon.com/tapped-out-pod. You're absolutely still going to get the show notes, and they are as valuable as ever with the new format, where the accelerated, the Indy Rewind section, the Making the Drive section, now over on the Tapped Out show. So again, really important to be a member there at the Tapped Out Patreon. Hey, you're on there. You enjoy all those benefits as well.
Yep, I have my Patreon membership. I got to listen early last week as Grillo was talking about his sucky Jets for 10 minutes. You guys could have been talking about the undefeated Bills, the only undefeated team in the AFC right now. But I listen to Patreon early every week. It's good stuff. I don't want to wait until this comes out live and hear it like the rest of the marks. I want to be first, early, and get all the information I need.
Well, the good part is this week you're here, so you'll experience this show live,
right.
But you will keep the other one, especially when we're talking about
I'll still listen on Patreon either way. As soon as you post them, I go back and I listen anyways. Make sure I didn't sound like a complete idiot.
I always say, one of my favorite saying is, who used to say it? I love me some me.
That's right.
But hey, that's enough chit-chat, man. Let's dive right into the new Indy Rewind, where we have moved it to this show as well, where we take a look back on the weekend that was this past weekend in Georgia Indy Wrestling and jump straight into the action right up the road from me up there in Royston, Georgia, squared circle action. Pretty loaded card. Main evented obviously by a couple things. Nick Halen, he defended his title successfully against Ashton Martin. He is still the Friday night champion. SCA Heavyweight Championship. Scott Mason had the deck stacked against him by James Boulevard, the new, commissioner there. Call it what you want. The consultants, what they call their role. He was put in a triple threat match where he faced Jaden Vane and Stevie Ray Frost. No DQs, no countouts, because that's Scott Mason's way of continuing to successfully defend that title. However, he walked away. He is still your SCA Heavyweight Champion.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Well, here's the thing. He has now been told that on October the 10th, he will be defending his title in the Fighter Web 2025. Off the air, I may have to tell you kind of how this works. I'm pretty sure I remember how this worked from last year. It's pretty unique, if my memory serves me correctly. Think Rumble-style match, but however, pinfall submissions do count during the match. If 8 men are in the match, and one person scores a pinfall, the other 7 are all eliminated. And then they just continue the match until there's down to the final person. So pretty unique that everybody has to protect everybody. I tipped my cap to them last year. I'd never heard of this concept, and I thought it was a cool little twist to the whole scenario. So kudos for them for
That's super tough. Cool.
Look, I'll sidebar here for a second. It's tough to come up with something new, right? Like something that's out of the ordinary.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah.
And have it make sense.
Well, and have it make sense, right? And well, and on top of that, it was something that I said, you have me intrigued. The first time I was reading it, I'm like, I have to see how this plays out, right? Like it's just something that different. Cool. So, yeah, absolutely. So Scott Mason, again, deck stacked against him once again here October the 10th for In Fighter Web. Jackson Carter. Look, we kind of saw the tease a week ago. He still seemed like, hey, you showed interest in Greatness Inc. The last time we were here on the show. Richard Page has again now successfully turned Jackson Carter to the dark side, and now he has joined Greatness Inc. So Richard Page, look, like him, don't like him, doesn't matter. He keeps growing that group all over the state of Georgia.
He definitely seems to know what he's doing.
Yeah,
he's growing his numbers,
he shouted
man.
out, by the way. You actually know him. He was like, he doesn't know if you remember him. He was at a few shows. Rick Page at a couple One Fall shows. And he was like, yeah.
I
he was like,
Rick.
I figured you did, and then I told him that. So, but again,
yeah, no, it's just been cool to see this group growing for him and everything that he's been putting together, and it's definitely been interesting. Like I said, Greatness Inc. It's a cool name. That's what got me really intrigued in it in the first place. So I'm glad to hear that it's working out for him. And like I always say, you do what you got to do to get some wins. So whatever ways he goes about business, I respect it.
Absolutely. And if you've missed the action, again, every week this thing is on YouTube. Check them out on YouTube. Their next show, obviously, is October the 3rd. They run every single Friday at the Royston Dome. And, of course, we will have some of that over on the Making the Drives, now on the Tapped Out show. Friday also, One Fall ran a show, One Fall Wrestling in Locust Grove. It was a big free outdoor show. Headlined by Mark Davidson and Vari Morales, and I said, had I known that match was going to, because I thought that was going to be at the coming show, then when everything happened, whatever, I was like, man, I could have probably made Locust Grove. That match alone is worth just it was a free show, but I would have paid a ticket to see those two wrestle, right?
Yeah, of course, man. That's unfortunately Freedom Brewing. They shut down unexpectedly just a couple days before the show, so that show got canceled. Luckily, we already had that second show planned in Locust Grove. It was a free show. The Nightmare Factory students just graduated. They had their camp showcase on Thursday. That show was really to try and get them on. So it was a lot of the campers. And then we had some people that were booked on the coming show ended up coming over, like Mark and Vari. Thankfully, they were able to make it over there with no issues. And, that match is always going to be incredible. If you ever seen Mark and Vari wrestle against each other or with each other, those two are insane. I was just saying the other day, they remind me of, Ray and Hoovy back in the day in WCW. I think those two would be an awesome tag team anywhere. But they're also awesome opponents. Their matches are incredible. So I heard I was not there. I was at TV early because it was crazy travel getting to Huntington, but I heard Matt Griffin wrestled on a One Fall show.
So you stole my thunder. The next one I wanted to get into is, Dennis Glass and Shane Johnson wrestled John Killings and Matt Griffin. Yes, folks, I repeat that. Matt Griffin, Action Wrestling's, leader, promoter, owner, was on a One Fall show? Like, how did we let this happen? I was like, did he just walk in the back door and walk into a match? Like, how did this happen?
Nick, like you always say, you never know who's going to show up on a One Fall show.
No, I agree. And, Matt Griffin, he's got some history there with QT and with One Fall.
Yeah, Matt's been around before. He's helped out with Turnbuckle before as well. A couple other things.
So you said it, and we repeat it on a regular basis. The reason you got to come check out a One Fall show, without question, is you never know who's going to show up. Whether it's Matt Griffin, whether it's a Billy Gunn, or it's QT yourself, the infantry, you could rattle it on for days. Literally, Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, etc. Yeah,
we'll see this weekend.
Top tier performances, but it also, I stress to a lot of people, you're going to have a chance to see a lot of guys that I think that at some point you will see on TV down the road, and you will remember. I saw them win. I remember seeing them win. And we could rattle off a ton of those guys' names. But the good news is, folks, we're going to get into this a little bit deeper. I'm not going to tell you where you can see all these shows and stuff going forward because we're going to get into that later. But their next show, One Fall show, is October the 3rd at South Main Brewing in Watkinsville. Again, check out the Making the Drives as we dive into that one as well. Saturday, let's jump ahead. GCW, Georgia Classic Wrestling. Big show right there in Buckhead, Georgia. Got to be rolling. They did something I thought was kind of cool. They have a giant screen there because it's a roller skating rink. They have a giant screen. They put the Georgia game and the Alabama game on the screen so people could
smart
do both. Yeah, so it's like,
smart.
Hey, you know,
it's tough to compete with the Bulldogs, so you might as well just put them on if you're gonna run. That's smart.
Absolutely. Hey, somebody you're familiar with he was over there. Jamie Holmes actually wrestled Leatherface on that. He took a loss, but he was there.
Georgia Grizzly.
He's getting out there, man. Yeah.
Respect. I like Jamie a lot. Jamie's a good dude, works very hard.
He's a very hard worker. I had an opportunity to sit with him for a while, talk to him a little bit at the Sunday show, which we'll talk about in a minute. JT Paradox and Xavier Cross, two very young dudes. JT Paradox, I think, is like, I want to say he's like 19 years old. He is.
I know you've been bringing him up quite a bit lately. I know you're a big fan of him. He did come do a 1FW's show maybe a month or two ago at South Main Brewing in Watkinsville. He came with Zach Buchanan, Bullpen, and those guys were great. He was really good, very respectful, nice kid. Seems like he works very hard. And I hadn't heard of him before that day, but then once I met him there and he did our show, now I hear his name on your show all the time. So he must be doing some good things. So I'm happy to hear that for him.
He is currently Bullpen's television champion. Look, if Bull Buchanan sees a lot of promise in him and he's willing to put him in that position, it goes to show you a lot, right? That's
for sure.
He sees. Chris Nelms defeated Haas Holding in a bull rope match. Listen, that's Chris Nelms' specialty, folks. So if you should have known better. However, it was due to referee Matthew Daniel turning on Haas Holding and costing him the match. Shocking.
Oh, ref turn. Nice.
Yeah. Very rare do you see the ref turn, right? That actually was good.
I love that so much.
Yeah. And then, of course, the show was main evented. Nick Kaling and Chop Top went to a 20-minute time limit draw. A lot of people went home unhappy in the sense they didn't get a finish, happy at the match that they saw. However, they have now announced Nick Kaling will take on Chop Top at the next show, October 25th, in a 2 out of 3 falls match. So that's going to be a whole.
That guy.
We're going to mention his name a few times. A few times. Other than that, like I said, check them out on YouTube, GCW. It's a fun show. I've had a pleasure of going over there. They're really close kind of towards that Athens area, so the crowd was a little down for this show. They hardly ever, they're pretty consistent right there at that 200 mark, consistently, drawing that same crowd. So it's really cool to see them doing their thing over there. Again, their next show, it's a Halloween show, October the 25th, at the Gotta Be Rolling Center there in Buckhead. Saturday, another huge card. This one, you'll know some names on this one. Coastal Empire Wrestling ran in Savannah, Georgia. The Allen brothers, they successfully defended the tag titles. Christian Taylor defeated Justin Kindred. Again, not going to be the only time we talk about Christian on this show. Kid's doing a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, Christian, man, I'm a big fan of Christian. He's another one, hard worker. He's always there very early setting up the ring. He's always there till the end, breaking down the ring. I actually had Christian's first match after he graduated from the Nightmare Factory. It was at Wrestling at Southern Brewing, so that was a cool moment. I think his name was Tony Flamethrower at the time, though.
Christian, good call on the name change.
I thought him and Sebastian Blaze could have been a cool tag team, though. That might have been something.
I agree 100%. He also, by the way, on the card, Chad Skywalker defeated Young Mighty Joe, another dude that you're pretty familiar with.
Nice. Yep. Chad's been a 1FW original since way back in the day.
Yeah. Big fan of Chad. I think he has a brighter future than, I just think he's got some, he's turned a corner on becoming, I was a great wrestler to now into I'm a great wrestler entertainer. And I think that's kind of, me and you discussed that a lot about, that's usually when people make the turn and they kind of have that future open up for them.
Chad's been doing great. He's always been a great worker, but he's really finding that entertainment aspect now. And
that's where
his
it's all
personality's starting to come through.
Yeah. Dax Anthony, not very happy. He was supposed to have his 3 stages of hell match with Bryce Cannon. If you're a listener of the show, you're fully aware. We talked about it last week. Bryce suffered an injury, wasn't able to perform. But this show, I believe that match has now been officially postponed until the October show. So cross our fingers that, Bryce heals up and that everything's good to go by then. Kevin Cantrell.
Yeah, from the frat house to the frat daddy. Get well soon, buddy.
Yeah, dude. He was, I got a chance to talk to him, and he was, it was rough. It was rough, let's just say. Zach Mosley defeated CT Keys. Kevin Cantrell and J. Alpha Miller, another young man I'm really high on. I think he's got a bright future. Went to a time limit draw. But the main event, Hollywood Hunter James and Randy Reno, not Randall Reno III, folks. The original Randy Reno was back, the scumbag himself, as they defeated Simon Sermon and Michael Walker. Yeah, man. And I have had
I love me some Randy Reno.
Isn't he great? Like, it's crazy.
He's the best.
I'm shocked I haven't seen him more around. You know what I mean? Like, he seems like he's only in a couple places, and I'm like, dude, you should be out there because I find him super entertaining.
I feel like he used to be everywhere. I just remember, what was it, Face to Face? And he used to come out with that like massive guitar that was like 4 times the size of the door to get it in. It was awesome.
But him and Hunter, great team. They picked up a huge win. If you haven't seen this, you absolutely have to check it out on YouTube. The finish of the main event was absolute chaos, as you can probably imagine. Next show now set up. Randall Reno will get a one-on-one with Simon Sermon, which is kind of what he wanted to begin with. And, of course, we talked about the 3 stages of hell. It will be moved to the October 25th. Well, again, I'm really high on Coastal Empire. I think they got a lot of cool stuff there. If you have not been to the venue, it's cool. It's a super cool venue. It's an old VFW with a wood roof, so the acoustics bounce around. So even at times when there's like 125, 150 in there, it is super loud in that building. So if you're in Savannah, check them out without question. I got to get you down there. It's a fun show.
Yeah, Coastal's cool, man. I like a lot of people on that show. I like the people that run that show. It seems like they're always doing something cool. They always have storylines going on. It seems like a really cool, fun place to work. If I had more time, I would be trying to get there every weekend if I could, But hopefully there's a date works out where we can get down there and maybe get some frat house action going on in Coastal.
We can probably work on that. Also on Saturday, the Apex ran in Augusta, Georgia. This card was loaded top to bottom. Absolutely killed me that I couldn't make it. I literally woke up that morning trying to get everything finished so I could make it. But a cheerleading competition squashed that pretty quick that I had to go to. Yeah, those are fun, man. You can't even imagine. When my daughter graduated, I thought I was done with cheer competitions. So she decided she was going to finish her college, become a school teacher, and now she coaches the team that she actually was on. As it cool? So now I'm going as the coach's dad and not one of the kids' dad. So anyway, So that completely wrecked my Saturday.
Still get us fired up. Were you one of those overactive athlete parents?
No. There are some that still exist on that team specifically, but she just loves it because Dad was just one of those. You win some, you lose some. Just work at it, get better.
Yeah, I always like the parents at the football games. They'd be yelling at their kid, just screaming, "Run, run, run, run!" So what do you think he's doing?
Or the one that tells him you should be doing this, or the one going up to the coach and saying like, "Well, what you should do is this," and you're like,
"Yeah."
Like,
they've never done it professionally in their lives. Much like wrestling fans like to do to professional wrestlers.
That's why we start podcasts, right? Anyway, back to Apex. Josh and those guys do a great job down there. Rehan and Tias, he defeated Alan Angels. That was one of the matches for the setup for the heavyweight championship.
That's a big win.
It's a huge win. Argument. Alan Angels. Probably, I just think he's one. I think he's one of the most slept on talents on the indie scene across. As decorated as he is across the country, it's weird. I felt like he was undervalued in the state he lived in at the time. I know he's since moved out of Georgia, but for the longest time, I felt he was undervalued. Agree or disagree?
For sure, I think he still is undervalued. I think Alan could be a main player on any current TV show. It's incredible. He's an amazing athlete, and he's got some character there. He's in that group with Cruel, right? And they're doing like
Mm-hmm.
the spooky gimmick.
With the hood, yeah.
But
Sauernar
yeah,
picked
he's
up a
awesome.
win. Yeah. Sauernar picked up a win. Izzy Moreno, if you're not familiar with it, that is the hugger, the little girl from Bailey back in the day in NXT. She is now a wrestler. She was there. She was in the championship tournament semifinals, and she picked up a win, so she has progressed. Charlie Kills and Matt Sells went to a street fight. If you've never had the pleasure of seeing both of these guys, they're both super entertaining.
Oh, I know Matt Sells very well.
I'm surprised Matt Sells isn't the old frat house guy hanging out trying to just, drink and booze still.
Yeah, I think he might have even texted Vance asking if he could breathe.
It doesn't shock me. Hey, I know I graduated in 75, but
Yeah, he was looking for the address to the party last weekend, I think. Trying to find
yeah,
out where to go.
but the main
He
event,
said he'd bring a six pack though, so he knows how
tell
to
him
he
it's a
knows how to
keg.
be a good guest. Yeah.
It's a keg. If you're coming to the frat house, Matt, it's a keg, it's not a 6-pack. But again, main event, Elijah Drago defeated Alex Kane in what I consider to be a massive win, and now he will move on and he will be into the finals as Rayhan versus Drago will be for the Apex Heavyweight Championship on November the 22nd, as well as Kelsey Reagan and Izzy Moreno in the finals for the women's match. But I'll come back to your guy Drago, dude. We talked about it.
Hey, brother. Well, first of all, Kelsey Reagan, it is. I'm sure that's going to be awesome. Kelsey, she used to come do some district shows for us, for me and Sheik. She was always a great competitor, and I know she's gotten even better since then. So I'm sure that match will be incredible too. But yes, to circle back to my boy, the 6'4", 260 Ukrainian-born Thriller, Elijah Drago, and not to sidetrack too far from the Apex. Also, he just wrestled Carlito the other day. If anybody's aware of that, so a huge moment for Elijah there. But back to the Apex. I think it's undoubtedly Elijah was the first champion in One Fall for the rebrand of One Fall. I think Elijah Drago should be and probably will be because he's the man. Who's the man? Elijah Drago's the man. He'll be your next Apex champion. I'm calling it right now.
Listen, I had been on that drum for a while. When they started the tournament and I saw he was in the tournament, I'm like, that's your champion, dude. No matter how you slice it or dice it, it's probably your champion. Check them out as well on YouTube. We talk about it regularly. I got to double check because he sent me the date, and it's in 2 places. It looks like they may be skipping October, and the big show will be November the 22nd there at the Allegiant in Augusta, Georgia. Again, Josh and him doing a great job. I can't wait to see what they surround themselves with, and when those 2 title matches, what else they load on that card. Should be a blast there at the Apex. Last but not least, when we're looking back this week in the Indy Rewind, Avondale Estates, One Fall ran another show. You were there.
I was there.
Yeah. So pretty loaded card. I wanted to hit on a couple high points from the show. Let's work our way backwards.
Okay.
QT Marshall and Lee Johnson. Like, that's a match you could see on TV, and you wouldn't be surprised.
Brother, and that match should have been on TV. That was insane. They did some crazy spots there. QT picking up a big win against Lee. Lee went for a springboard something, and QT just happened to catch him with the cutter out of the air for the 1-2-3. But insane, incredible match. What else can you say? QT, after the match, did put Lee over. Thanked all the fans for coming out, which is something that's a regular thing at One Fall. Either QT will take a couple minutes after the show to talk to the fans and thank the fans and let them know what's coming up. Or if Billy's there, Billy will usually hang out and he'll thank the fans, and he'll end the night with one big old group stuck it. So it's just a fun way to make sure everybody goes home happy. But yeah, that match was insane.
Yeah, I remember Lee Johnson in his early days. I saw him up at Southern Honor when he was cutting his teeth as a young dude. It's super cool to see how far he's come and where he's at now. And I still to this day tell people all the time, I think QT Marshall is probably one of the most underappreciated wrestlers, because everybody thinks of him everybody knows now what his other roles are and think, oh, that's why he's there. And I'm like, yeah, but do you actually watch his matches, or do you just say it because it's the cool thing to say on the internet?
Yeah, no, if QT wanted to, he could go out and have a 5-star match with just about anybody. It's and that's what he's trying to do with One Fall is build it up, and when he wrestles people like with Lee, you get those kind of matches. And Lee, obviously, back in the day, another One Fall original
Yep.
on those shows and whatnot. And you'll see a lot of those guys are still around, honestly, like Lee and Adam. Nasty Leroy was an original. Cap, Sean Dean, he's been there since day one. Preston Vance out of Frat House, he's been there since there. He was the One Fall champion when it ended. So technically, Elijah probably should have had a match against Vance, if anything. I think Vance has the right to claim a challenge to Brady if he wants it. I'm not saying he's going to, but if Vance wants it, I think he has the right to get a title match.
So you brought Brady up, so we'll go there next. You wrestled Brady Booker. You had a title shot.
I don't want to go there next.
So to put your point, yes, Cody should have an opportunity because Brady's still your One Fall champion.
Listen, there was a lot going on. I had a flight at 6 a.m. coming back from TV. We had a match the night before for Ring of Honor. It was hot out. The sun was in my eyes. The sweat was in my eyes. He hit me in the cup. He hit me with a cup of beer in the face. That got in my eyes. Honestly, the whole thing was a mess. I think I deserve a rematch, to be honest myself. I have the right to claim a match. So I think I want a nice clean match. Nothing on the outside. No beer in the eyes. I don't want it outside so the sun's in my face. I don't want to be sweating like that. That's ridiculous. No, I want a nice indoor match with AC.
I don't blame you in the least. The other match I wanted to hit on, it was literally, I didn't make too many notes on that show, but as I sat there, there's a, I believe it was Ashley and Jeff were some fans that were sitting next to me. If they're listening this week, hey, we appreciate you subscribing this week and checking us out. They were pointing out, Angelica Risk and Hyena Hera, they're hitting each other harder than the guys do, it seems like. And I'm like, check out One Fall. That's a regular thing. The female talent roster is so deep that is something you can expect on every show.
Yeah, the women's roster likes to chop very violently for some reason, and it's not even like regular chops. They like doing belly chops. They like doing chops.
They do this double slap thing, a lot.
Double slap, like the big grizzly paw slap. I've seen Angelica Risk chop people in the thighs, in the hamstrings. Yeah, the women's division, they like to get physical. They don't hold back. They don't pull their punches. They really lay it in, and they all come back and they just beat red, and you can see fingerprints on all of them. It's something, man. They go in. But yeah, Big Risk has been making her return. She came back Friday night. She had a little time off to heal up, but she returned. She beat both Riley Judah and Cameron Cash in a handicap match Friday night at Locust Grove.
Mm-hmm.
And then she picked up a win Sunday night against Hyena Hera, which is a huge win. So we got some big things coming up, and we'll see both Hyena Hera and Angelica Risk at the TV tapings this weekend. So
yeah, both are fighting, jockeying for that position to getting a title shot with one Isis Reed when she's able to defend that title again. Only thing, a suggestion, somebody needs to get Jason Esquire under control. He gets out there, he picks up a win, so he thinks he could just throw the ring announcer out of the ring and take over the duties for the rest of the show. I mean,
I personally love D1 Jason Esquire. I think that's, talk about a five-tool player. This man does it all. He's ring announcing, he's managing, he's wrestling, he's setting up cameras, he's setting up the ring, he's doing it all. And he's driving from Alabama every day to come do these shows, and he comes out here 2 or 3 times a week to come do these. Jason Esquire, he's been working very hard. His in-ring ability has been improving. His character work has always been awesome, but he's just getting even better at that. And now even taking over duty Sunday. It's not the first time he's announced, so he knew what he was doing going out there. Nobody really had a problem with him doing it because we know how good he is at announcing, so we just kind of let it roll. Sometimes you feel yourself.
He seems a little partial. Let's go with that as his ring announcer.
Yeah, well, who's not? I can be a little partial myself sometimes.
Absolutely, that is true. Again, we discussed it earlier, October 3rd, next show in Watkinsville, and we're going to dive in deeper again. I keep teasing where you're going to be able to be seen in the next. We'll get into that in a second because this thing is going to air shortly before it's all out there. But before we do, everybody knows, yes, we did not get rid of this category, folks. Moving it over to the Tapped In show, we still ask that question every week. Who won the week in Georgia Indy Wrestling? We're going to have a debate about this topic later, but I think the easy answer this week's pretty simple. It's 1Fall Wrestling. All of the TV stuff we've teased. Got a big TV taping this weekend on the 5th. We'll talk about that on the Making the Drive segment on Tapped Out Pod. But Peachtree Sports Network, Triller TV, it's all been officially announced. 2 outlets that you're going to be able to catch it. So if you're like, hey, by the way, if you're in Georgia, you're going to have the Peachtree Sports Network. I looked. It's on YouTube TV, Fubo TV, Comcast, Xfinity, and Spectrum all have Peachtree Sports Network. And by the way, folks, I'm not even sure if you're aware, you don't even have to have cable. If you got an antenna in Georgia, it's channel 17.2 on your digital antenna channel.
There you go.
So absolutely no reason for free.
Yep. And then also on Triller TV, you can watch it for free worldwide. Anywhere in the world, you can watch 1Fall Wrestling now on Triller TV as well. There'll be so Peachtree Sports Network will air the shows on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. will be like the big debut of the episode. And then the following day on Triller TV, they will air at 6:30 p.m.
I know we always hear, and I wanted to ask you as an impartial as you can be, because I get it, you're going to be a little bit. We always see posters that say TV taping, and I'm like, I don't know that YouTube is TV taping. That's just you put your content on YouTube. This is a legit, like, hey, this is TV. Obviously, the Triller TV is a bonus, but I think people underestimate, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Peachtree Sports Network is part of a larger, thing. So it will be cross-country, from what I was told, that it'll actually be on all of those outlets. That's what I was told. If I'm wrong, tell me now. That's what I was told.
I know there was discussion of, because there was two options. The one was just Georgia, and then the one was the national. And I think there was discussion of us taking the national rather than the Georgia. I don't know if that happened or not. So we'd have to double check with that.
I will pull back on that statement until then, but that was what I was told. We'll get into that.
But it could be, and even if not, maybe it's a possibility moving forward, but I'm just not sure, honestly. So we'll just have to get info on that and double check. But for now, Peachtree Sports Network on Tuesdays, starting tonight as we record. This is Tuesday, so it'll air tonight at 9 p.m. And then tomorrow on Wednesday, as we're recording today, tomorrow will be Wednesday. It'll air on Triller TV at 6:30, leading into Dynamite, basically. So you see how that works out. Great. Nice little synergy there.
If you're a Patreon member, tonight, Tuesday night, 9 p.m., if you're watching on YouTube, anytime after this thing airs, this thing drops at 12 on Wednesday, tonight, Wednesday, 6:30. After that, if you're listening to this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's already there. Go back and watch it. It's because all the replays are all free as well. Everything is free on Triller TV. But if you're local,
all you need is an account. You just have to sign up for a free account on Triller, and you can watch.
Absolutely. So it made me lead to a question I wanted to talk to you a little bit about. It never truly, in a weirdest way, and I don't mean this as disrespectfully, it's a good question, I think. I never really considered 1Fall Wrestling a Georgia wrestling promotion for a lot of different reasons. But I asked myself, does this kind of stamp it that it's not anymore? Like, let's stop doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could have made that statement quite a while ago. Honestly, I don't think 1Fall has ever looked at themselves in competition with anybody, But yeah, I definitely don't think we would be considered just a regular Georgia indie anymore at this point, at least. But especially if you have Billy Gunn in your main event, four times a month, I wouldn't really call that an indie show.
Well, that's kind of what that used to be my case was you were never surprised anymore if Billy Gunn. Look, we get QT. The situation's different while he's there, so I always kind of slid him to the side. But Billy Gunn, Jay Lethal, Carly Bravo, Sean Dean, yourself, the frat house. I mean, at any given point, anybody from Ring of Honor, AEW can just let's begin. I know it's a one-off. I get it, but Jeff Jarrett wrestled on the show.
Yeah, brother, Summer Stage. We had Tony Schiavone, MJF, Harley Cameron, Brody King. Like, come on now.
And that's kind of what I wanted to get in there. Is I know a lot of people are trying to compare, like, hey, this promotion to and I'm like, okay, let's just not the same. Let's kind of take one fall and realize it is over here kind of in a category by itself because it's just the amount of shows, the quality of the shows, etc. Now with the production that you're going to get for TV, all of the people that are helping.
Speaking the amount of shows, I know, I don't know exactly where yet, so I'm not going to give those details, but I know since we lost the coming show, how aggressive Scott is about getting these shows done. So since we lost the one, I know he's gone out and picked up 3 more to replace it. So,
do you want the October dates? I do believe. Let me reread this comment.
So I have the ones that we have ready to announce. I don't know if they've released the other ones, if they're ready to announce those. But if you have the information, please go ahead.
He said that by the time the show airs, you can announce this one as well because it will come.
Okay.
So I wanted to clarify out. So in October alone, I have this is the list Scott sent me. If I announce the show, I apologize, Scott. So because you gave me the list and said this all should be announced by then. This is great podcasting. So obviously we know the Friday show. We've discussed it at Watkinsville. The TV tapings at McDonough. By the way, from my understanding, sold out, correct?
Yeah, it sold out within like a couple of days of announcing that it was free. So get your tickets early next time, people.
Yeah, 10/10 back in Gainesville, Stars and Stripes at the American Legion. Back on the 16th, they will be back at Athens at the warehouse, by the way. Plenty of room, folks, there. If you're in Athens, I was about to say, if you're one of the sororities and the frats, come out and check it out. It's a big venue. They're going to have beer.
Yeah, that's going to end up being a cool show for us, for sure. That was a great time that first time. Huge success. I think that's going to be a good show for us.
It was over 100 for a Thursday show? And
for a first-time Thursday show. And then we know there was some of the fraternity people were there. Thankfully, we had the frat house guys there. Vance and Cole were there with me. They had a good time, and we heard that the fraternity guys are planning on bringing back their friends and some more people. So next time should be even bigger and more fun and rowdy, just the way wrestling should be.
I agree with you 100%. And then the funny part is then in 10/20, you're going to be back in Watkinsville again. That's the Monday Mayhem show. The 25th, you'll be in Winder at the Finished Goods and Brew. I was at that last show that they ran there. That was a fun show. That was, I think, one of the Cinco de Mayo shows, right? That was one of the 4 y'all were running in a day.
Yeah, I wasn't at that one. I was at TV for that, and I won't be at this one. Unfortunately, I have to go to Buffalo for a wedding, but that'll be the only show I won't be at this month.
This is the one I'm afraid of. So there's one on the 30th. I'm not going to say because I don't know that it's posted yet. Have you done the? I'm going to skip it. There's a one on the 30th that I don't know if it's been announced. The 31st. No, okay, the 31st one. This is the one Scott said will be announced by the time the show airs. So, Hartwell, Railroad Station, yes. The showdown at the station. That is on 10/31. That is, folks. This is kind of what I'm. Listen, I get it. I get this accusation all the time. I'm a bit of a homer for one fall, but what I'm a fan of, they're giving shows all over the state. It's starting to spread out to the point that, like, I don't know if a lot of people even know where Hartwell is. I'm like, you're basically in South Carolina. I mean, you're literally, I could throw a rock. It's like you're right there at it. So the upper corner. So if you're one of our listeners from South Carolina, listen, Heath, I know you're listening. It's been a while. This is the show you can make. There's no reason. This thing's probably close. This is way closer to his house than anything else that, you guys run at one fall.
Yeah, I
But
looked it up
again,
on the GPS. It's a bit of a hike for us. So
oh, I'm sure from your area where you guys are at, massive haul. But even from my house, it's over an hour. I think it's like right at an hour or so. I mean, it's a haul
yeah,
for anybody. But there's a good market there. There's up in that corner. I think there's a market because you could pull from the South Carolina. Because listen, last time I checked, there's not much in South Carolina as far as shows go. There just isn't.
yeah.
So anybody right across the border of South Carolina, jump over and check them out. That one is on. That is on Halloween, 10/31.
Yeah, that's Halloween night, but I was told Hartwell, the city of Hartwell or town of Hartwell, they're doing like a trunk or treat event earlier in the week on like a Wednesday night for all the kids. So like there's not really going to be trick or treating going on Friday night apparently. So everybody should be able to make it to the show. Shouldn't be any issues.
Listen,
You know, and it is Halloween, so feel free to wear your costumes and
I was
get
about to
dressed
say,
up and come have a good time.
dress up in the costumes, bring the kids out. It's fun. It's family friendly, which is a huge plus this day and time. It's hard to go to a lot of wrestling places where they're family friendly. So absolutely check it out there. That's October 31st, showdown at the station right there in Hartwell, Georgia. It's kind of my point about separating them out. Just again, that's right now I'm looking at 8 shows in October alone. And I have 2
and I
dates.
believe those aren't including the ones that Scott has recently booked.
Yeah, I think he did tell me that. Yeah, there's a couple he didn't have. He was ready to confirm with or anything like that. But that's just crazy.
Yeah, so there's probably 3 or 4 more that are gonna get added to that.
That's bananas. And I told him that's just bananas. The pace you guys are going on. I'm like, I don't see how specifically. Look, let's give full credit where it's due. Specifically, Scott. Like the pace that he's going, like to help make all this stuff happen. For behind the scenes, it's
He's
crazy
he's
bananas.
definitely got some strong motivation behind it. He wants to take over all of Georgia. I love it. We love it. It's great for our roster, honestly. Just the more they get to work, the better they get. The more they get to work in front of fans, the better they get, myself included. But it's awesome. It's if you're in the business, especially, you just want to wrestle every night of the week. So the more shows we have, the better. But also with wrestling fans, you hear that a show runs this often, you would think there's burnout and overkill and fans aren't going to keep coming. But if you put out a good quality product, you get over 100 people at every single one of your shows, even if you do 2 or 3 a week.
Well,
we're always filled out, man. It's crazy.
You've got some regulars that hit you in specific areas that are like at multiple events around there.
We definitely have our devoteds that'll follow us to every single show, no matter where we're at, and we appreciate them.
And the cool thing is it's on top of, like you said, it is who all shows up there. But I think what most people don't realize is the ultimate goal is these younger guys end up going elsewhere and taking like bigger bookings. Like that's kind of like, hey, we want you to go wrestle other places. It's not just like wrestle this loop. But the roster's so deep there that it kind of affords that. That's a cool thing that I think, because one of those guys we're going to talk about here shortly. But before we get too far, I do want to ask you real quick. Everybody knows my take at this point. We mentioned it briefly. Like the news dropped literally, I think 2 hours before we recorded Tapped Out last week. PWI 500 comes out. List our list. I get this, folks, and I get it. I'm just a fan, but this is my take on list. They're made to create conversation. And I said this about the local, the Georgia awards and all that kind of stuff. If you win, great. If you don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world. Lists are the same place. If you're high on the list, awesome. If you're not, it's not the end of the world. Guys that didn't make the list, it's fine. There's things I know about this list that I'll share off the air, but and I've had these conversations with people in person. But again, if you're on the list, kudos. That means at least somebody's recognizing you and they see you out there.
For sure.
And obviously, Cruel, we know him as Cruel. He's MLW champion now. Mads Kruger. Like, there's a couple things I wanted to highlight on him. There's basically 3 or 4 guys I wanted. Look, the list is on our show notes. Sign up is at $1 level. You'll see them, all the list of the people who have technically kind of sort of worked in Georgia at some point. I don't consider them all Georgia wrestlers, but they walk through the state line of Georgia and put on a match, I guess is how you qualify for the list. I know Cruel. He's worked a couple one fall shows. I know we have had the conversation about character development and that kind of thing, and evolving and becoming better. I wish more people appreciated what he had done. Did you know him in his previous incarnations before he was Mads Kruger and Cruel?
Yes, I started training 5 years ago. Like right when COVID started is when I started training. So my time getting into the business was kind of weird because there was like starts and stops. So it took a little while to actually get started. But yeah, I remember him back in Southern Honor, doing like his original thing and all that. And he's awesome. I love, we'll just call him Cool on the show here, but I love him. He's awesome. He's a great person. Wish him nothing but the best. I think he's a great wrestler, fantastic wrestler. And everybody that I know that's worked him too, and they always say the same thing, how awesome that match was. He always ends up being like everybody's favorite opponent. He's just a good guy and deserves all the success that he finally has coming to him here, especially over at MLW.
He's done a great thing, the branding, and people don't get like, what do you mean he's branded? You see the mask? It's a brand. I mean,
yeah, his character work is really taken over.
Yeah, he evolved from, he realized there was probably, now, don't kill me if you disagree with this, Cruel. The Logan Creed character had a ceiling. It was going, and he saw that. I think he saw that ahead of the game, flipped it, comes up with this, and now the guy's like, we always make a joke. I always say to people, Cruel's not a Georgia wrestler. He's just not. Because he wrestles primarily all over the country. And by the way, he's wrestling on MLW television. And he's, like I said, currently your champion.
Yeah. So I mean, not to jump ahead too much, but I would put him on that same category that you usually list like Carly on or QT on. Like they do the Georgia Indies, but they're not really Georgia Indie guys,
Yeah. And I agree. I am super happy with all the success he had. Agreed. Great dude. If you know him, talk to him a little bit out of the ring. I'll tell you something off air about him that most people, well, hardly anybody knows.
Yes, out of the ring, he's a great guy. In the ring, he's a friggin' monster.
Literally. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Another guy I wanted to hit on the list before we went too long, Adam Priest. Great selling point right now that you could be a wrestler walking around the country and going, I'm the best indie wrestler in the United States. If you don't believe me, ask Bryan Danielson. He said so, right? Something to that effect. That's a heck of a tag that you could use.
And Adam Priest, speaking of which, you will see tonight on Peachtree Sports Network or tomorrow on Triller TV, our debut episode. You'll see Adam Priest versus Jay Lethal with Sanjay Dutt. That match was awesome from Summer Stage, right there. So good plug right there.
But
yeah, Adam's the man, dude. I mean, I put over Adam to everybody I talk to every chance I get. Adam's awesome.
And I always joke he's another crazy segue I didn't even intend to happen. I also joke he's Conrad Thompson's favorite indie wrestler as well, which he will be. You'll hear his voice on Peachtree Sports and on Triller TV as well, as he is
the official
announced. Yeah,
official commentary team, Conrad Thompson and B-Double, Brandon. And then the episodes also, just to give everybody a little heads up, will be hosted by either QT will host the first episode with Brandon. Myself, I will host the second episode with Brandon, and then QT on the third, and then myself on the fourth. And we're playing around with that. So you'll see some cool wraparounds with me and QT mixed in there on these shows. So that'll be fun too with Brandon. It's always a good time. We've known Brandon for a very long time. He's been helping out at the Nightmare Factory since it started.
One of the hardest working young men that I know when it comes to pro wrestling. I agree.
He's
another
awesome.
Guy on the list, number 309, Carly Bravo. Literally, the show notes have question marks across it. Don't understand it. I understand I saw his post and was like, yeah, well, I only wrestled as a tag. Doesn't matter, folks. If this had any, I'm not going to use that word. If it carried any water for me, Carly Bravo is nowhere near the 300 range. He's way higher on this list. But that's just my opinion.
For sure. But like you said too earlier, lists are just lists. That's somebody's opinion. They put together random data that they care about. And that's where they get their information from. But if you're on the list, it's cool. And it's a great thing. It's a good way to get your name out there and exposure. If you're not on the list, it's not really a big deal at the end of the day. And then where you are on the list really isn't a huge deal either, because it's such a specific why they put people here and there and things like that. So I think it's just cool to be on the list in general. If you make it, and then if you're not, no big deal. But yeah, Carly Bravo, obviously, huge fan of Carl. I've known him since he started at the Nightmare Factory. We came in kind of around the same time. And obviously he's a champion on Ring of Honor. So it's anytime you're a champion on Ring of Honor, you should get some recognition. But he's also been working so hard since he started. He's been blowing his name up. And honestly, if you ask Carly himself, I'm sure he doesn't even care where he is on that list. And I'm sure he appreciates being on there, but that doesn't affect him in any way whatsoever. He's just gonna keep plugging along, doing his thing. Carly Bravo, you can't tell him he's not the best.
Hey, he's still going to wake up tomorrow. He's got to post pictures of him and Bay on social media. He's going to carry that thing around, so it's not going to affect him in the least, but I agree with you. Look, again, just lots of things on the list that whether I agreed or not, guess what? They got my $8 to buy the digital PDF copy of it. I looked through the list. That it did its job. Let's put it that way, folks. It got my $8 like it's supposed to. That's exactly what they're supposed to. So.
And a shout out to Big Trouble Ben Bishop making that list, my buddy BGU.
At 304.
Hey, get it
Should
in.
have been bigger. Should have been a higher number. I'm a big fan of Ben Bishop. Have been for it's shocked that he's not
or if
somewhere.
they went lower, they could have put him at 612, and I think he would have been happy with that, just because of the specific number.
Exactly. That's the list. I wanted to just touch on that, but of course we still have our categories, folks. They haven't gone anywhere. This week specifically, it is time for the hot hand. Who's got the hot hand? And that doesn't mean you're the top 5 wrestlers in Georgia. That's not really what it does, folks. This list is who's got a ton of momentum right now, who's got all the steam, and we're going to tell you who they are and why we feel that way. I'm going to start the list. Look, we've already mentioned him once, so let's get it in here. Adam Priest. He's on the list. My logic was, why is he on the list? Look, I get it, folks. A lot of people are going to say he only really works one fall in action in Georgia, and I'm like, isn't that enough? That's usually my response. Oh, by the way.
Yeah. What do you mean?
he's stepped out, and he's challenging for the Action Wrestling World Championship. I believe it's at not the show this week, but the next, the show they're back. And I'm like, dude, best wrestler per Bryan Danielson, I guess. I mean, that in the United States, clearly he's got a ton of momentum. Oh, by the way, and he was on TV not too long ago, so I mean that kind of helps as well.
By the way, he was on TV feuding with frickin' FTR.
Exactly. It
Jesus.
wasn't like no, I agree, man. Adam Priest, he knows. I've had a chance to speak to him. I think absolutely one of the best wrestlers when you get in there and watch him go. And anyway. Adam Priest, hot hand member. This one's going to surprise a lot of people. And I know you don't have the list in front of you, so Christian Taylor has the hot hand.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Christian works very, very hard. And I know all around the state, he's been developing into a top guy at a lot of different promotions. And, he does a lot of great work in one fall. Recently, he's been teaming with JD Inc. They got a little something going on there. So that's been cool to see develop. They've been hanging out with Trevor Blackwell, who recently has decided to turn things around for himself and try to endear himself to the fans and become a better person. Just a cheap little plug. I'm going to squash that and put an end to it this Friday night in Watkinsville, because Showdown of South, Jacked Jameson versus Trevor Blackwell. I'm going to put a little end to their little happy parade they got going on over there. But yeah, Christian Taylor, he's been killing it.
Here's his resume right now, why he makes the list. He's the SCCW Cruiserweight Champion. He's one half of the GPW Tag Team Champions. He's in main level stories in Southern Honor, Coastal Empire, and by the way, he's getting a title shot versus Jacob Ashworth at the next Scrappy Championship Wrestling show. It's a pretty good little run here that he's going on. So,
yeah, not bad. And I think it's because he started his career with his first match against me. Honestly,
it was all uphill after that, right?
Yeah, anytime I can take credit for anything, I'm happy to do so.
Next on the list, Alexander Lev. He recently defeated Jacob Ashworth. He is now the Georgia Heritage Champion. By the way, he's the #1 contender for the Southern Honor title, and he will have that match at the November show when they return there in Canton. I believe he holds another one.
Probably. Lev was another Nightmare Factory student. He worked very, very hard to get better. Little known fact, he was Quattro Junior in BGU for a little while there. So shout out to Lev, BGU. Also kills it over at NWA. Big things for Lev over there. Yeah, I'm proud of Lev and seeing how far he's come and everything he's done and put together for himself. He's come a long way since being Quattro Junior.
Yeah, he's done a lot of work to get in better shape. He's been
yes, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Hunter James next on my list. He is the VPW Viral Pro Wrestling Outbreak champion. He is the Southern Fried Classics champion. He appears to be the number one contender for the Coastal Empire Championship. He's going to have a match coming up, I'm sure, sooner than later with Michael Walker. All over the state of Georgia, wherever he goes, he's got that momentum. I think he's really deserves to be right here at the top of the hot hand list.
Yeah, I mean, you just said number one contender like 6 times. So.
Yeah. He's 2 belts and he's a number one contender. That's kind of a good spot to be. A lot of momentum, and not to mention, by the way, he does do the Friday shows there at Royston from time to time, and he's a main player there when he's there. I mean, like literally wherever he goes, it's like, he's a top guy when he's sliding all over the country. And people forget, I think he's like 22. He's like super young.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's very young. A lot of time to develop still.
Number 1 on our list, shocking, I'm going to surprise you. It's kind of a tie, and I'll tell you why I put them as a tie. It's Brady Booker and Vari Morales. They are your one fall champion, your breakout champion. Here's my logic. I tell everybody why they're the hot hand right now. They are defending those belts at such a rapid pace. More title defenses than most promotions' titles get defended in a year, in a month. And it's not, guys, don't want to pick at a scab here, but Brady's defending that title against guys like Drago, Shoop at times, yourself, and he's still holding on to that title. He is like, that's a hard case to make, right? Like, is anybody any hotter than that? When you go back and look over the last month, all of the people he's defeated in keeping that title, it's a pretty impressive run.
Yeah, I think the only person that would be on a streak like that would be Vari, who you put as 1A and 1B. So there you go. But yeah, I would give them both the hot hand because they both beaten me in the past month. So I mean, anytime you beat me, I think that's pretty impressive because I'm one tough opponent, maybe.
Absolutely. And Vari, like you said, same. When you go back and look at the ones he's defended it against, by the way, Vari's not only on it for the list of the guys he's been, successfully, and because, by the way, Vari's doing it in triple threats, it seems like, constantly. A lot of guys, you yourself were in one not too long ago in a triple threat.
Yeah, me, Vari, and KJ.
Yeah, but on top of that, Vari seems to be having this partner show up a lot. That they seem to be a pretty heck of a good tag team, and that is one badass Billy Gunn, Mr. Ass, Daddy Ass, whatever. I mean, that's a team. I joked about it a few weeks ago. I don't think any of us realized that we needed that team until we saw it in action.
Man, they're great. That's it's such a fun thing to see. Their styles contrast and work well together. So it's cool. And obviously, anytime you get Billy Gunn out there, it's a great time. And he has a blast with Vari. And if Billy Gunn's having fun, the crowd's having fun. So that's great to see. Vari also had a huge win recently, a couple of weeks ago. It was against Mark Davidson, Elijah Drago, and Lee Johnson in a 4-way match. Just to throw that in there.
But that's my point. Just all the momentum. It's hard to beat both of those guys as they're going out there, and some weekends twice successfully defending their titles. But on like we talked about 8 shows that we know of in October, that was kind of my point to somebody. I said, listen, if you're champion, you only run a monthly show. Your champion's defending it one time every single month. That's 12. And let's be honest, that's typically not the case. It's not defended at every show. Sometimes they're in a tag match or there's a match that, just other matches getting to as the story progresses. And I'm like, dude, you might 8 times in a month is a heck of a pace. And that's why they are number 1 on the hot hand, 1A, 1B.
Yeah, and they'll be defending those titles this weekend because they'll both be at TV. The TV taping on the 5th. Those titles will be on the line. I know Brady will be there Friday night in Watkinsville. His title will be on the line. I'm not sure if Barry's there or not. I'll have to double check that, but so those titles right away, first show of the month, you're gonna get some title defenses. First couple nights out.
Yep, that is correct. And that is the hot hand for this month. Now we're going to go to another category we've added this. We added it last week, something a little bit different. We just wanted to mix it up. And I'm really going to make the blind reveal a little bit of a twist for you. It would be easy to dive into the wrestling world, but I said, you know what? He's sporting a Buffalo Bills jersey, little shirt there. So let's have a little fun. And what we're going to do is we're going to rank. I came up with 5 names of Buffalo Bills players all time. You're going to blind rank them from 1 to 5 as we go along.
Let's do it.
So first name I'm going to give you, Josh Allen.
Oh, man. Woo! It's a little early in his career with some of the greats in Buffalo, but I mean, I'm such a big fan, and I think he's going to be the one to bring a Super Bowl to Buffalo. And I think the one who brings a Super Bowl to Buffalo is the one. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little shocking statement out there. I'm putting Josh Allen number 1, baby.
That's a huge, massive surprise as I go through this list and I drop number 2, Jim Kelly.
I fucked myself. Let's put Jim. I'm going to go number 2 because when you think of Buffalo Bills, you think Jim Kelly,
I lived through that era of, the machine gun Jim Kelly and the whole offense, with all that there. So let's continue that when I throw out Thurman Thomas.
Thurman Thomas. Did I tell you the story about Thurman Thomas and me on Twitter?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I said this last time I was on, didn't I?
Yeah.
I'm going to put Thurman Thomas at 5 because he's a dig.
All righty. No, the next one I'm going to drop here, Andre Reed.
Let's go 4 because I feel like I know who 3 is going to be. But Andre Reed is awesome. I've met him a few times. I used to work at the bars in Buffalo. I've met all these guys. Thurman Thomas, obviously. Jim Kelly was cool. Jim Kelly used to hang out with Shooter McGavin all the time at the one club that I worked at, which is awesome to see Jim Kelly and Shooter McGavin together.
Did he walk around and
Yeah, I swear to God, anytime, you would see him out all the time. And if you yelled Shooter, he would turn and go.
Bonus points for that guy, right? Embrace it. Don't run away from it. Just embrace it and run with it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Last guy, let's see if you guessed it. Bruce Smith.
Yep, I was thinking Bruce. I'm putting Bruce at number 3. One of the greatest defensive linemen of all time.
I agree. So that's a heck of a list that you loaded up there. You got Josh Allen number 1, Jim Kelly, Bruce. Go ahead.
To be fair, Josh Allen is number 1 is on the conditions that he ends up winning a Super Bowl for Buffalo. Otherwise, he's number 4, and everybody just slides up 1 except for Thurman. Thurman stays at 5.
So let's dive into this a little bit. We got a couple minutes here before we take off. Buffalo season. I'm sure you're watching. You're probably super hyped, but I've got to ask $1 million question. Does the defense scare you a little bit? They look a little rocky there in the back end.
Yeah, man, the defense has been an issue for a couple of years. Like Josh and the offense, they throw up all those crazy points, but then when the other team is scoring 34 points too, you got to score, 40. It's like just stop them a couple times, and then you guys only have to score 14.
It's like when you're watching those Kansas City games, it's like 48-45. You're like,
man,
what are you doing? Like you needed one more stop. Like that's it. Can you not hold the team under 40? You would think if you hang Chiefs, 45 on them, you're winning, right?
Yeah, but the Chiefs seem like they're falling from grace this year, so that's good news for me.
Don't fall into the trap. That's my only give. Everybody, they're lulling. They're going to get a lot of people back over time. Worthy came back this week, and how did
the Bills, they let these teams hang in there, man. They let the Dolphins hang. They let the Jets hang. You got to shut these
So
teams down.
I heard this on a podcast. I listen to a lot of sports podcasts, believe it or not, over wrestling podcasts. I think I have to shut my brain out of wrestling for a minute and listen to something else. And somebody brought up a very valid point. I believe it was Ryan Russillo, if I'm memory correct. Does it just not seem that way in the NFL in general? There's hardly ever. It happens. I get it. There's a game a week. Tennessee and Houston 30-0. Like those happen. But overall, do you not turn around like in the fourth quarter and you're looking around and going like, why is this a 6-point game? Even in a game where somebody's been absolutely manhandling the other team, why is this only a 6-point game? I don't understand how this is even a game.
So I wonder if it's like all the penalties and shit like that just makes it so hard to be a defensive player now. You know?
I made a joke to my wife one day. We're sitting there watching the game, and I'm like, if I've got a really tall, great receiver, I get it, Burrow's hurt right now. If I'm Joe Burrow and I'm Jamar Chase, I'm like, look, we're just going to throw it deep 4 straight times. You're either going to probably get a catch from him because he's so big and he's so good. Justin Jefferson, same case in Minnesota. Or you're getting a pass interference call.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're getting something.
That might be even better.
Yeah, because my argument was let's say you throw a pick, but if you throw it 40, 50 yards down the field, it's like a punt.
Yeah.
It's okay. You're fine. Like, just keep going. But anyway, that's the NFL these days, and the whole rules in general are just kind of baffling.
Yeah, it's kind of killed football, honestly.
There's lots of that. Listen, there's probably there's a reason the show split into 2. Everybody's aware, like now it's only 2 instead of 3. The reason why I want to do some cool stuff like that, who knows? Maybe on Patreon, there's a show where Jacked Jameson and I sit there and talk about football. Maybe there's a show where Jacked Jameson and I sit there and talk about Marvel movies or DC movies or comic books, etc. But again, if you ever do those, patreon.com/tappedoutpod. Sign up. $1 level gets you the show notes. $5 gets you the weekly shows early. $10 shows get you anything we ever do early. Of course, you also get the digital collectible from the Tapped Out Collectibles division. And, of course, at the $25 level, you get all that. Plus, you get the physical 8.5 by 11. Those go out. I mailed out last month. I don't know if you saw them or had a chance to. It was Jay Lethal, Black Machismo. That was last month. It was a great one.
Yeah, those are awesome. They're always awesome. But, I mean, Black Machismos, that's such a cool thing. Like, that's if you were able to get your hands on one of those.
Yeah, I know. I always try to they were super. And I tried to tell somebody, $25. Grillo brought it up last week. That's what he's charging for an 8x10 autograph, with a picture. He's like, and you get it just part of your Patreon membership. So basically, you're getting all the other stuff for free. You're getting that picture every single month for that value and that value alone. Who knows, folks? You never know. There might be a Jacked Jameson one in the future. So sign up now because you got to be a paid member by the 1st of the month.
And also Nick, you just said if you get on Patreon, you might hear an episode where we break down football or we break down Marvel. Those are real conversations we've had, people. That's like, these are things that we're looking into and talking about doing. We've even talked about watching Anchorman and breaking that down.
Yeah, we've talked about the movie stuff. I mean, all of the above. If you guys would like to see like a rewatchables, that's a Bill Simmons podcast. Like if you like that format, we've talked about doing those. Myron and I have done those before in the past, but I'm like, hey, what if I bring on yourself or a Grillo or Hunter James or Bryce Cannon or whomever, whatever, do those type of things.
Let's talk football with Grillo. Let's just bury the SUCKs. I mean, JETS.
Triple threat show, right? Bring you both on and let's just have fun. Again, those stuff. Patreon exclusive. We get those massively early because they're not time sensitive. I could actually probably have those like, hey, that's behind the paywall for like a week, and then it drops on YouTube or something like that. Who knows? Or maybe we don't. Maybe it's Patreon exclusive content, folks.
Yeah, just sign up for the Patreon. It's not that much, and you always need more wrestling content.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming on, being the guinea pig for the new first style, the whole setup, the new way we're doing this kind of thing. Keep you in the rotation, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I do, man.
For sure, man. Always a blast. Thanks for having me on, bud.
Anytime, man. And like we always tell you, folks, make sure you're supporting it. Indie wrestling. It needs all the help everywhere. You got to support, and it's the fans that make it happen. If you don't believe me, ask QT Marshall. He says it at the end of every show. It's the fans who keep the business running. So get in your car, go down to the show, buy a ticket, and just maybe we'll see you at the matches.